Beautiful. Are we live?
Yes, on YouTube. Facebook's just making up its mind.
Oh, perfect. Good morning, everybody. I'm just fixing stuff.
You're now live on Facebook.
Yay! And I'm just fixing my thing that's just dropped off. Oh, dear. Ah, dear. That's not going to work, is it? Bit wobbly, but we're on. Good morning. Welcome to Natasha Makes. I'm just breaking everything in sight this morning. I hope you're all right. Did you have a nice weekend? It is me on my lonesome, on my Todd this morning, because Gemma is poorly. So we're sending her lots of love and hope that she feels better soon. We have got beautiful velvets. I know some of you have already started buying, and I don't blame you because we've been teasing you with these for quite some time now. They are pretty special, not going to lie. I've absolutely loved working with them, just sorting out my scraps and everything. Oh, Jane, is this what, I haven't had a look yet. Jane's just gone, I'm just doing this next week, doing this tomorrow. This is Jane's quilt for tomorrow. Is there a way up, Jane?
I've gone with the short side up, but it doesn't matter.
That way. Anyway, that way. It's a bit nice, isn't it? Very nice. Oh, beautiful. If I'd have had that 10 minutes ago, I'd have put it up on the wall. It's tomorrow's show. That is very gorgeous. So today we are making this bag. I'm going to show you all the velvets. They keep falling over all over the place, so it all looks a little bit ramshackly. But my gosh, they are beautiful. They are so gorgeous. I fell in love with these ages ago. I saw them at a show and then stupidly thought that I would remember the name of the company because all their sales guys were busy and so didn't take their details. Yeah. Man, I had to wait another year until I saw them again at another show and went, you're the ones. You're the one I've been waiting for. I think they felt special. Just having a little tidy up. We've been ever so busy this morning, and I did promise Gemma that I would just weigh. We put weights on everything for the postage. One of these bag frames, because this morning I did my usual thing of, we've loaded everything on the show apart from, could you please load me? Look at that angle. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? But Gemma has asked me for a weight. It's 125 grams, Gemma, just so that you know. These are really rather lovely. Rather lovely. I've only got a handful. But look at the velvet, doesn't it look gorgeous? Just gorgeous with that velvet. I am very much in love with this velvet. It's just been so beautiful to work with. I've got lots of bundles for you. I'm not going to lie. I've got it by the ½ metre, so you can add as many increments into your basket. We'll cut it in a continuous length for you. I've just had one friend say, can you buy an extra roll and make my curtains out of it? So that's going to be the next job to do. So this has been incredibly popular already. Oh, bit of time for a bit of lippy. We've got time for a bit of lippy. I think we have, haven't we? That'll make me feel better anyway. So did you all have a nice weekend? I will. Don't know if I can find you and still run the show. So maybe not. But I don't know if Jane's got the show on Facebook, if she could maybe show me a few comments. That might be nice. We're so busy. Right. It's where to start really with these fabrics. Just before the show, I was trying to hang the bags up from meat hooks on here. I just said to Josh, you know, you say stuff and you realise it's not a normal sentence that most people would expect. And it went along the lines of, please, could you grab me some meat hooks out the hippo's mouth? Is that normal, Jane? It's not, is it?
No, not really.
No. Please, could you grab me some meat hooks out the hippo's mouth? And he just looked at me, as you would. You would look at someone that sounds mad. And I love this. Where would I find the hippo? I on top of the piano, of course. Where else would the meat hooks in the hippo's mouth be found? I mean, come on, let's all be serious about this. So yeah, that's been the flavour of this morning, really.
Jimmy's with us.
Who is?
Jimmy.
Jimmy, morning, afternoon, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Afternoon, Jimmy.
And Sharon are with us.
Hello.
It says biscuits.
Martin always says biscuits. This is good to know. This is good to know. Helen's here. Marilyn, morning, morning, morning. Gabrielle. Oh, everyone's here. This is lovely.
Here.
Oh, good job.
Joy's here, sending her good wishes to Gemma. To get
I don't know if any of you can hear Jane from there. I've got quite a few meat hooks though, so that's helpful.
Marilyn's asking, are the 30cm tubular frames going to be on sale today?
They are. They're already up.
They were.
They should already be up and loaded. I've got a lot of them as well. They should be live.
Lots of good wishes being sent to Gemma.
Yes, yes, yes. Lots of good wishes for Gemma this morning. Hoping that she is better soon. Shall I show you these fabrics? Oh, Jane. The things that I love about this. So when I did this bag before, let me just show you. We did it initially with denim. Thank you, Jane. And Tubular. No, Tilda. It was Tilda. And it was just gorgeous. And I interfaced it with H640, which is fine. This time around, I've gone Styleville. And I absolutely love it because it just gives that firmness to the velvet, which means that it's only going to have a ripple if you want it to. Let me show you. So yeah, that one is more slouchy, and as ever, as soon as you put Styleville Fix on anything, you get that stronger feel. And it was exactly the same with this. Now, I'm not going to demo this bag today because we did very, very similar last week. For those of you that are members for the Natasha Makes designs, I will put the template for free up in your members area, and then if you just follow the how to make a kiss clasp frame, you've got that done. Okay. What I would say is that if you're using Styleville, just to do the main body of the Styleville without the seam allowance, as we did last week. You know, so that's a continuous thing. But I've got less than 10 of these frames. So yeah, grab them while you can. But let's have a look at these bags. Once I started last week making these, I couldn't stop, as you can see, because every combination was so beautiful. So let's have a little look overhead. Whee! That's just going to go and break, isn't it? Brilliant. It's my glorious soft touch. So we have got, so this is the grey, and I've done this with, well, you can see. So when you open them up, these are William Morris fabrics. They're absolutely beautiful. They're technically a percale, which is a type of weave, but it makes it really, really, really strong. It feels a bit like cotton lawn. And as we know, cotton lawn is insanely strong. There are companies that offer clothing out of cotton lawn that give a lifetime's guarantee to that item because they know how strong cotton lawn is. So don't ever be fooled because it feels slightly lighter to think that it isn't as strong. It absolutely is. And here you've got that absolutely beautiful William Morris fabric there. And that I did with the grey, but I've also done this as a bundle with the pink velvet, which I will show you in a minute because it's all gorgeous. Now, the other thing is, of course, we've got patterned velvets as well. So if you want to play with the patterned, this is one of them. This is another. You can buy these by the half metre. Now, I have lined this in velvet. I kept saying to Jen, are you sure this isn't too decadent? Are you sure this isn't too decadent? And she just looked at me and she said, it's Natasha Makes. It doesn't matter if it's too decadent. That's what we're about. And I went, okay, fair enough. And it's just because this opens up so fully, I don't think it's too much to have all of that glorious velvet on the inside. Now I've got a lime green as well that would look equally fabulous with that pink. So if you were really going all out zhuzh, but both greens are in here, it really doesn't matter. But we'll go through all of these in just a minute. So that was the pink. And then, yeah, same green. Don't they just look so different? Same green, but this time with the dragon. Look, isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? I just am so in love with these. Oh, yes. I nearly went to parents' evening with one of these. With this one, so this is obviously your Strawberry Thief, your William Morris Strawberry Thief. I just love that you open it up and you've got these decadent linings. I've also done this one with the green, because that green is totally in there. So it depends what look you're after. So let's have a look at some of these bundles. I've lined this one, we're still finishing sewing it in. I've lined this line with the pink velvet, which just feels gorgeous. Just beautiful. And of course, if you're using the velvets for the any size tablet case, you can do these. Oh gosh, they'd be absolutely stunning. And the velvet, of course, will clean your screen every time. So let's have a little look at what we've got. It's clearing space, isn't it, for it all? Pop that up there. Let's get these in here. Yeah, I did get really carried away. Make no apologies for it at all. So these are available by the half metre. These are recommended dry clean only. You can understand why. I'm going to go overhead so that you can have a good old look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. If my friend hadn't beat me to it, these would have been the curtains. They still might be the curtains in my sitting room because I just think they are gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Because you've got every colour. You have absolutely every colour in here. So whether you want to team it with a bright green velvet, whether you want to team it, what have I done with it all? With a bright pink, as I did, then it's all there to play with. And it's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. We've got this lime green and we've got this bright green, pink, all by the half metre as well. Or if you want it as part of the bundles, then it's there as well. Right, now also we have, if I can just unravel some of this, if you want to just go with your navy, then we've got that navy in there as well. So all of these options. Now with the navy, we have paired a half metre of the navy with the William Morris, should you wish to make these bags from that. And I think I also paired it with this one. You've got your birds in there. So that would be another one to look at to go with that. I'm just going to go in on a close-up so that you can see that and that together. We just get some light on that for you. This is such a beautiful fabric. Such a beautiful fabric. And you've got it there with the velvet. There it is. Very, very gorgeous. Or just so you get an idea of the detailing there on your William Morris when it finally comes into, there we go. That's your Strawberry Thief. Now you can have that with the navy or with the green. I've also done this one as an option with the green as well. And you can see why, as that contrast, it really pulls it. So if you're feeling brave, then that might be the option for you. I love that. Just those little details that you've got in green there, really highlighted. So that is one lot of options. Let's find you some more to play with. Now you can probably see behind me all the different colours I've got going on. And it's very hard, they like to just fall over everywhere. So here's your green, well, one of your greens, which I did that back with there. Just beautiful. Let's move this one out of the way. And again, this is available by the ½ metre. Now, if you're not a velvety person and you just want the William Morrises, then you can get those. They were part of a ½ metre heaven last week. So there is that option. Do you know what? I've got these cut in metre lengths, and rather than hoiking them around all over the place, I'm just going to show you them all from there because, oh my goodness, they are so gorgeous. Look, you see? Away they go. Right, let's get them out of here, shall we? And we can have a proper good look. So. Here we are. We've got the green and the pink. Now what I'm going to work on today is this, which is just beautiful, and I'm going to work on that with the Snake's Head William Morris. Lots of you loving this. Let me show you why. Ooh, that's why. It's a bit blinking gorgeous. So that's what we're working on today. So I'll put that to one side. I've shown you that green. So what I've got left, I'll just use that. And you've seen the navy. Actually, they look rather nice together as well, don't they? The pink, you've kind of had a little bit of a look at because I made the bag out of it. You can make these tubular bags with a ½ metre and have space to fussy cut. Now, the other one that I've got that I haven't shown you base-wise, let's move these out of the way, is the grey, which is here. So if I just kind of pop these down for you to see there, then you can start to get a beautiful idea of what's going to go with what. Oh, it's just also gorgeous, isn't it? Okay. These are our plains. So you've got your light green, your bright pink, your sort of chartreusey colour, you've got your teal, you've got your grey, and you've got your navy. And this pink I would peg. See, I hadn't really thought of it with the grey, but there is that grey in there. If you wanted to go grey and pink, always a winning combination. And suddenly these bits of the pattern come up. But I'd bought it really to go with any of these three over here, whether you go for the chartreusey or the bright green or the pink there, Charisse. then all of that is absolutely going to work a treat. And again, this is available by the ½ metre off one of those big old rolls. So that's one of them. Now, let's have a look. Also bundled was the dragon with that green there. And you saw the bag, so you know that. If you're looking at natashamakes.com, then you will find all of these on those pages. Right, now, I've run out of time to work with all of these, but I'm just going to lay this here because how totally stunning is this? Okay. So you've got this rather beautiful peacock. Now you can pull the blue to go with his feathers and his plume. You can pull the teal to go with the background. You could pull the pink to go with those flowers. It's entirely up to you, or you could go with the grey because that goes with everything. But I love this one. I was having a look to see with this bag how much of him I would see if I fussy cut. And yeah, down to there, I could fit that as the main part of that bag. So if you want to get one of the M frames, then with last week's bag, you would be able to do that. I might do another pattern and make it bigger so that we get all of that in. There's no right or wrong, is there? It's just stunning. Or maybe you just want to drape yourself in it. That's not wrong either. But do get yourself enough to allow you to be able to fussy cut for sure. Now, other beauties that we've got would be this. Now look at this. This was another, I'm not going to lie, this was another curtain option in my house. Like, oh, I might need this as curtains because it's got those hits of colour going through there. This is one of my favourite plants, the paradise. I think it's called bird of paradise, that plant. I don't know. But you've got peacocks in there, you've got parrots, you've got all sorts going on in there. And I just love it. So for this one, I got you the lime. Can you see the lime in there that just pulls through the peacock's tail? Or if you want to pull the background and you want to go with the navy, then you've got that. Or if you want to pull the pink, then you've got pink on the toucan there. It's all there to play with. I'm imagining cushions with the planes around them, just giving you that incredible finish. I just love it. I just love it. You've also got this green. Oh, decisions. It's just exquisite. And the beautiful thing about this fabric as well is that if you want to bag make out of it, you could make so many different ones. Or if you want to make lampshades out of these as well, all of our lampshades would work an absolute treat. But you don't have to have a massive bag. You could, say, do this one and just focus on the toucan. Or maybe just have, and every bit is going to be different. Oof, oof, oof. It's so beautiful. And then, lastly, but by no means least, let's check this out because this is incredibly beautiful. This just screams chinoiserie for me. I just adore it. I think bedroom furnishings would just be so gorgeous in this. This was actually the reason I bought the grey. The grey for me with this was just so beautiful. I will at some point buy a lighter pink as well, so bear with me on that. But for now, I think that beautiful grey works exquisitely with this one. I just adore it. You've got all of these incredible birds, herons and all sorts, parrots. It's all in there. And it just feels so beautiful. So for me, this is winning with the grey, for sure. Absolutely. We will do makes with these pattern velvets. I didn't expect to love the plains as much as I did. These are all polyester.
Asking if you can tell her how wide the velvet is.
Oh, I think it's either 54 or 56 inches. Yeah. It's of that order. It's like a dressmaking width. Thanks, Jane. Jane's keeping an eye, bless her. She's a good one, is our Jane. So, yeah, that's how wide they are. Yeah. Shall I measure it? I've got all sorts under here. Oh, I know what I haven't shown you yet. Honestly, I feel like a kid at Christmas. When these came in, I squealed and then had to try and yank them in off the doorstep because these big rolls were not for the faint-hearted. Let's have a look, Sue. 60 inches. It's a bit special, isn't it? 60 inches wide on this, and I believe that they are, yeah, they're the same. They're the same. So yeah, that's what my cutting desk is telling me. But if you look, there should be the details for care and for the details of how to wash them and their composition. We do try and put that up as much as we possibly can with all these things. I'm going to use this one today, so I'm not going to put that to one side. Velvet divides people. I know some people absolutely love it. I do. And you can just see the fall of this, the drape. It's heavy enough to upholster with, but it's also got enough drape. If you were a dressmaker and you wanted to do that, then you could absolutely go down that route as well. Oh, I just love all these fabrics. I've been so excited for these to come in. I've been so excited to be able to share these with you. I just adore them. It's the quality of them and the luster. They are, so we do another type of velvet at Natasha Makes, which is less expensive, and it's a cotton, it's an Egyptian cotton velvet. But to get your printed velvets and to get this luster, you're looking at polyester. You have to be. It just is the way of it. And so these are what we've used a lot of that green. I'm not normally a fan of greens, but this is now, yeah, I've just found myself this year going, ooh, green, that's rather nice. It started with getting my sofa green. Beautiful. Right. Now then, have a little tidy up. Do you know what else is rather nice? It's the sort of the chartreuse with that navy. It's just all beautiful. So, so beautiful. Now, the one that I haven't showed you yet is this one. Now, I've put this with two different fabrics. You can either put it with the grey or you can have it with the pink. And those are bundled as well. And that is the one that is with the grey there. But actually, initially I bought it to pick up the pink. So however you want to go with it is entirely up to you. It's all good. So, carefully. Oh, I've got nowhere to put them. Carefully pick them up, and now I've got nowhere to put them all. Right. Let's have a little make, shall we? You are going to need Starville Fix if you want the same finish that I've got. If you want the sort of finish that this one had with the denim, then go for H640. We don't put the interfacing in the bundle because it's personal preference. You will also need some medium weight interfacing as well. Not very much. If you've got our scrap bags, you'll probably find what you need in there. I might have got a bit overexcited with the dragons. Right, frames coming out my ears. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go with this and this. Oh, that looks quite nice as well. I've got to stop it. I keep finding more bundles that just look fabulous together. Should we get going? So we're going to make this from scratch today. There's no two ways about it. This is happening from scratch. Okay. And I don't mind that. These, I always take the first bit of fabric off the rolls because invariably there'll be a bit of mud or something on it. So where these were brought in and unravelled. Oh, hi Mabel. Mabel's coming to join us. She's been busy on duck duty this morning. Haven't you, Mabel? Hey. Now, let's talk nap. Because nap is something that worries people with velvet, and please don't be worried about it. You've just got to decide which way you want it to run. Again, right or wrong. The nap will be, it's the way that will change the colour of your velvet. You can't see it very much in this one. So I really wouldn't worry about it. With the bags, you can probably see it more in the grey. I've done it so that if you brush it up, there you go, you can see on this. If you brush it up, then that distorts the nap. And so I've just made sure that the nap is going in the same direction on both sides. And as long as you're consistent with that, then we're all good. Let's not worry about naps everywhere. So, let me find my rulers and let's get cutting. Beautiful. Oh, there we go. The nap's coming this way, in which case what I will do is make sure that I cut this the wider part there. And it is just something, I did think about pre-cutting all of this, getting ahead, but actually, what have I done with my rotary cutter? Here we go. That's great to a point, but with velvet, part of it is the cutting of the fabric. So let's take there. And then align that edge to there. So I'm using my cutting mat because this is a wider fabric. I'm going to use that to just help me align everything nicely, making sure that I'm going from the correct side. And I can pop that to one side. And come around here, realign. And cut again. There we go. I'm going to go in with my creative grid because it means that I can line everything up square, because I know that's not quite square under there. So I'll take that there. All your measurements are in your instructions, and what you are looking for is the 30 centimetre tubular frame instruction. Okay. So you've got two outers, and we will interface those with the Styleville Fix in a minute. So you've got plenty of velvet then left over. So out of this fabric, again, you're going to want to watch the pattern. And just how that pattern's going to go. If you are someone that doesn't love velvet, bear in mind that we had these as half-metre heavens. So if you want to get these, or if you want to line in a coordinating plane and just have your fabric on the outside, then you can absolutely do that as well. So this is going to be my lining fabric. Just making sure I have these the right way. Now, look at that. Really stunning. I also want to have the tubes that run along. So I'm going to cut from here another strip, and we'll cut those two strips. And if you want to fussy cut these bits, then you can. But what I'm also going to do is save this strip to do the tabs that I pull everything open and shut with, which just leaves the need for, that's not quite long enough, strips for the handles. I am going to use my old trusty friend waist shaper for this. Okay, so I'm just going to cut these at 3.5 inches. If you're not going to use waist shaper, then I have suggested another width in the pattern. But I love waist shaper. It just takes all the stresses out of it. So for the handles, and again, you know, I saw someone said, "Oh, I've made these bags before, but I don't like to carry a bag. I like it across my bag, across my shoulders, so I would increase the length of the straps." It's all good. This is all just personal preference. That's all it ever is. So yeah, you make it exactly how you want it. It's your bag. I'm not going to know, and I'm really not going to mind at all. Okay, so just bear that in mind. So the first thing that I want to do now is interface everything. So they will be the handles. We'll get ready to interface those. We will also press those so that we can make those like the binding. And then the last thing that we've got to cut will be the Styleville Fix here. Now, how wide is this? So let's cut this down to size. And again, this came out my scrap drawer, so it's going to need a little trim down. If you're working with Styleville Fix, if you've got it doubled, use your larger rotary cutter. It's just so much easier, so much easier. So I'm going to pop that on the end there, line everything, line the folded end up so that I can again cut here, and using my mat, using everything to line everything up. And then just trimming everything back here, making sure I've got this the right width. I actually batch made my samples, which made life super, super, super easy. I made one and then went, actually, yes, I can batch make this. And it was, I just got on a little bit of a roll, put a little bit of Netflix on. So let's get interfacing with everything that we need to do. So we are going to, oh, that's the pattern that you need. The velvet is slightly different. Okay, so normally, let's just turn the iron on. I would interface from the top. However, this is polyester, so you don't want to be applying a heat from that side. So I'm going to interface it this time from the top of the interfacing. So finding, I'm using up my scrap wadding, and in there's been a batch of just Styleville from when we were sent the wrong stuff, which has totally blown my brain, because I'm like, why is this not interfacing? What's going on? So it's because it's not the right one. It's not the right stuff. So that has, yeah, that's blown my brain a little bit. Medium weight interfacing. You can use firm, doesn't matter if that's all you've got scraps of. Again, don't get hung up on this. It really doesn't matter. So we'll get those in there ready to go as well. So we're going to interface the outers. Let's cut these as well for the handles, and then we're going to be all good to go. If you've not used the waist shaper for your handles before, it gives a real nice firmness, but also it's just the quickest, easiest way to do your handles. This is what you're looking for. It comes in white or in black, but it's the waist shaper there, and it's from Vlieselina, and it's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So we'll be interfacing the handles because these just fold, so it's rather fabulous. And again, you're looking for that shiny side. That's your adhesion, and that will just go over the top like so. Once my iron heats up. So it's getting there. You do want steam for this. It's starting to. So these are going to be my tunnels for the tube to go through. That's what I'm interfacing first, making sure my iron gets really nice and hot. Now, keep it moving. Don't hold it in one place for too long. Right. Okay. All right. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, absolutely. Because I've just used a ½ metre. The most fabric that you'll use is the lining, because you do your lining, you do your channel around the top, and you've just seen me cut from that 1/2 metre. You don't get a lot left over, you do get some, you don't get a lot left over from that 1/2 metre, but you do get some. So just keeping this steam moving, and I'm steaming from the top. So Starville Fix is a foam interfacing. It's like sewing through air. People get really, really worried about using it, but it gives this incredible structure. It's fusible, so now I have my velvet fused on here. Now you can see the nap on there. But it just means that now is the structure of my bag. That's giving that bag that professional structure. People worry about using it, you really shouldn't. Don't worry about using it. And I only say that people worry about using it because I know that both Gemma and I used to worry about using it. And then we actually started using it. We're like, why are we worrying? This is your waist shaper, so we're going to do the handles in that. And again, now I'm going to be just applying from the top. Apply your steam because that just increases the temperature a little bit and just improves the glue flow. Interfacing, I don't know about you, when I first started interfacings, it was a stopper for me. I used to stop even thinking about doing projects because I wasn't sure that I had the right interfacing. And I never, when I bought them, because they don't come labelled apart from H640, but then if you use the top bit, then the H640 is gone anyway. So if you know that you've ordered it from us, just put it in a bag or something when it arrives. And I've got boxes of my different interfacings, so I know which one is which. But ultimately, if you are using a medium or a firm weight on the back of a cushion, it's not going to make a massive difference. Really don't worry about it. And you will soon learn what you like the feel of. So it's not going to... Yes, there's a big difference between H640, which is a fusible fleece, so it's more malleable. And you can see here, this is much squishier. Whereas you can see this is going to be much firmer. So that's the difference. Both will give some rigidity to your bag or shape to your bag. It's entirely up to you how much shape you want to have. So let's put this last outer piece. And if you are using Starville Fix, then I would definitely say to put it on the outer in this case, because it just gives such a beautiful finish to that velvet. One side is slightly scratchier than the other, and that is the side that has the glue. And because it's like a foam, you can apply your steam from this side. If you've remembered to put enough in your tank. Looks like I've run out of steam. Now I have in the past cheated, and I don't know if I've got it in here, when I've run out of steam, because with this particular steam iron, you can't fill it until it's cooled down completely. It won't let you, which is really annoying. But my other version of it broke the other day, so I'm not terribly happy with them. Yeah, that's going to need some steam. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. And I will have to ask Jane to fill it with some steam when it's cooled down. There's plenty of other things that we can be doing. Right, handles. Let's do these handles. So, meanwhile, we can fold these over. Fold these over. You can give this a press, but this is why these are so much quicker than any other way to make your handles. Because you can just fold over and press. Like so. Now the other thing is quilters wash away tape. I'm going to fold these ends over by 1/2 inch. So I'm going to put a little bit. When you start off with this tape, there's always a bit at the end that never quite feels fully sticky. I'm going to pop a little bit on each end. And fold it over, and I will press it. I will then sew down it. Nearly at the end of this tape. Will it be enough? Will it? I'm normally quite, I would say laissez-faire, Gemma would say lazy, about measuring, but on this, in this case, I am going to measure. Okay, so these are this is where my tubular frame is going to go. I've got my gauge set at 1/2 inch, and what I'm just going to do is push that back. There we go. That's my 1/2 inch. Thank you. Jane, could you possibly grab me a little jug of water, because I've run out of steam. I can't interface without the steam.
Jug in the kitchen.
Yeah, there'll be something in there. Or even just a cup. I've got a funnel. But by having this accurate, it just makes everything look really rather lovely. And it just works then. It all just works. If you had one of our advent calendars, then you would have, from, oh gosh, which year? Not the year just gone, it was the year before. You'd have had one of these. And it might not be that you know, that you don't necessarily know when you're going to use it. But I try and fill our advent calendars with things that we will use at some point. And it just means that you can go at a project and know that you've got everything you need. Look at that, I haven't interfaced it right to the end. That's annoying. Never mind, it's not the end of the world. And if you want to, then fold them in half and press, you can. You are going to stitch those ends down. Okay. If you want to fussy cut these so that you get, I managed to get a little bit of the strawberry thief on mine, then that worked a treat. Oh, thank you, Jane. The other thing is I could try with the best press, but I'll try this first. Thank you. To make the tabs, I'm going to take one long length, I'm going to fold it in half, and I am going to do this as if I were making binding. And then we've got stuff to start to sew. Finger press, into the middle. So all your raw edges come into the middle. Like so. And then fold everything into the middle. We'll cut this in half, but just so we're not starting all the time, let me turn that iron off. We are going to stitch. I like to stitch, and this will be the same for my handles, for everything. If you've got a double edge rather than a single fold, I will stitch down there first, because if it goes wonky or anything else, I can realign and press and still get a great one down there. So I'm just going to sew down these. And I will chain piece with these as well, just makes life a lot easier. I'm going to sew the short ends on the bits that I've just folded over and pressed, which are going to be the tube, the tunnels for the tube, channels, tunnels, whatever you want to call them. You know what I mean. And I just try, if you are on a time limit, I just try and save up. Rather than keep stop starting, I do try and save up all my bits of sewing to do as much as I can, all in one go. It doesn't always work, but I can if I'm organised. And I generally find if I've already made one of something, then I'm much more organised the second time that I make it, and it's much, much quicker. And then I'll turn around and I will sew down all the other sides, and they're all attached, ready to go. So it does make life an awful lot easier. Now, I've already sewn those, so I can cut those free. But I do need to sew down the other side of the tabs. Okay. So what we now have is the tube. We're going to keep those two one places, the channel for the tubes. This I'm going to cut into lengths of... Oh, did you guys get your lanyards? This is so pretty. Let me just show you. I know we're just getting a little bit diverted for a moment, but did you find these? These are Renaissance ribbons. They're the beautiful embroidered ribbons. And in the kits that I did on the Friday deals, you get enough to make 2 of these. If you want to buy more of the fobs, they're 1.5 inch fobs, you can buy more. And if you wanted to do instead of that onto felt or something like that, then you would get 4 out of the metre piece of that ribbon. These embroidered ribbons are so expensive. I tried to do the kit as inexpensively as I could, but they just last and last and last, and they're absolutely gorgeous. All my keys are on there, and it's just wide enough to get over your wrist like that. And there's a little a little Facebook video, because it takes moments, but it's a lovely little gift for people as well. So just so that we've got that. Right, we digress. Just trim the end there. And I'm going to do 2 lengths there like that. And now we start to build. Let's look at the nap. I want the nap to come from the bottom up, so I'm going to spin this around. And I'm going to find my middle and mark it. Hopefully, here we are. Now that will be part of my seam allowance, so I'm not worried about that having gone over or anything like that. So, that is my middle piece there. So just check again, yeah, the nap is going up. That's my middle section there. So I'm going to fold one of my tabs in half and center it there, like so. I had a million tips, so let's bring these into play here. Now, handle-wise, if you fold it like that, then you know that you're not going to get it twisted. Ask me how I know, because I did accidentally twist one of my bags. It's not massively obvious, which is why I didn't catch it first time round, but it's annoying. And I'm going to measure 2 inches out from either side of there. And again, this is personal preference. If you want them wider, then do them wider. And I'm going to have that as where the inside of my handle comes. And I'm going to base these in place. Now, the other thing that we would do on each of these as well is to take a big chunk out of each corner as well. And it feels like a massive amount. And I guess it is quite a big chunk to take out. But this is what's going to give it that lovely, roomy feel. And then hopefully by the time that we've done all of this, my iron will have cooled down enough for me to refill it, warm it back up again, and away we go. We can interface the other side and away we go. Oh, I just love this fabric. It's so beautiful. I'm going to base this in place along there. So you've got all of those basted in place. And then the next thing that you're going to want to do is get one of these and find the center part of your channel. And then raw edges up, fold down. And you can see how that's going to sit just a ½ inch in from each end. And again, we will be sewing that down in place. And you'll do this to the other side. Okay, this is, and then that's one's front side done. And if you want to do it just in from 1/4 inch, then do. But you've got everything then in place so that it's not going anywhere. And you can sew off the end, that's no problem. But it's just getting the order that you sew these in place right. That's the key here with this make. Let's have a look, shall we? See if... Aha! We are in luck. Let's fill that with a bit of water. For the longevity of your machine, if you've got filtered water, then that is much better, or ionised. Right, let's get that heated up again. Whilst we wait for that to heat so we can do the other side of the front of the bag, let's do the lining. So we'll put our lining right sides together. And you want to mark those squares again. Now I'll cut both at once. I'm not worried about doing that. That isn't a problem. And whilst I'm marking things, I will mark myself a generous turning through gap as well. was making the bag this morning and I pinned it rather than clipped it, and was using words you couldn't say in church, shall we just say. My daughter's like, why do you keep pinning? Like, I don't know. Thank you, small voice of truth that is only 5. Thanks for that. I don't know why I keep pinning. Clips are so much safer, aren't they? I don't know, I was obsessed that it needed to be pinned this morning. Ow, 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 ow. And I wouldn't get rid of these. These are going to make lovely little tabs. If you'd wanted smaller tabs, you could have made them out of your offcuts there, and then you could have saved yourself a strip. So you could equally make them out of these offcuts if you wanted. So then let's sew down the strip and across the bottom, and we'll get that lining done whilst my iron heats up. And as ever, we will then do the outer the same way. Now, often we'll sew down the sides and along the bottom, and then cut the squares out to box the bottom. But what I have found is that if you know that you're cutting them out and you cut them out beforehand, you can just put a little back stitch in there, which just helps hold it all together when you box the bottom. So I might come in and go back. And especially if you're using the Styleville, then that's really nice to have those stitches secured like that. So to box the bottoms, as ever, we're going to pull apart those sides of the fabric. We're going to align those seams. But let me know what else you're going to make. If you've bought this and you have absolutely no intention of making this bag at all, then do let me know what else you've got in mind for these fabrics. Because I've got so many ideas and not enough time. Cushions, bound cushions are a must. Okay, so that's my lining done. And I was just mindful to make sure that the pattern was the right way up. So let's see if my iron has done its thing, shall we? Be nice, wouldn't it? Eh? Be nice to think it's cooperating. Who knows? Might be way too much to ask. Ooh. I've got a little bit that started to adhere. There we go. It does need that steam. If you're coming from the top of your Styleville, then you are going to want that steam for sure. But I say keep it moving, because otherwise the steam can come up and you don't want it steaming you, because that hurts. So just keep it moving and you'll get there. You will get it all done. You can see it just gives such a beautiful finish. And I find myself being quite methodical about going sort of across, back and across and back, so that it all gets covered. And I'm going to find, again, I'm going to find that nap, because I want that nap to be from the bottom up, which is exactly what we've got. So when we've got that nap from the bottom up, then we can start assembling this bag the other way. Now, you can use this now as a guide for where everything goes and just align it. You can either measure it or you can just align it from there. It's up to you. but I know my handles, again, making sure I'm doing these so that they are not going to come undone. So they're not twisted, rather. If you're feeling particularly good, then of course you could do your channel and sew along there. I'm not. I'm going to baste these bits in place first before anything else. And just starting with your foot partially on it means that it doesn't move as you move your foot onto it. Okay. And then get that channel again in place. And again, base that in place with a scant 1/4 of an inch. That's what you want. So a scant, if you're new, is it's just a thread or so less than your normal 1/4 of an inch would be, and it just means that that stitching, that line of stitching, let me get my words out, is not going to be seen when we finally do sew our lining in place. Alternatively, you can go with a normal 1/4 of an inch or a larger seam allowance, elongate your stitch and baste it in place and then remove that later. That's another way to do it. But what I have just made sure that I do is that my nap comes up from the bottom on both of them. Let's take these squares off. And then we're ready to assemble, and it's really not, there's not much more to it now. It goes together pretty much as any bag, but I would ask Jane if she could just bring me in one of the frames, because for some reason I didn't bring one in with me, which was really particularly silly. Right sides together. I'm going to sew the base in place first. You can push all your handles out. Thanks, Jane. I did buy good stock of the handles, so you can buy as many as you like. They did take a long time to get here, just so that you know. There we are. There we go. So we're good to go. I'm going to sew along the base first and then sew up my sides. And again, I am going to start on my fabric so that I'm not trying to, because it's quite a chunk, elongate your stitch length a little bit because you're going to be going through so many layers here. And the depth of, whilst this isn't difficult to sew through, the depth of it will take up, if your stitch can't go across because it's got to go down into something, then if you elongate, you'll get the same length of stitch, and you've elongated to allow for the depth that it's got to go through. I'm going to start going forwards, come off back, and then I'm already going by the time that I start to sew this then in place, and at the ends again, going backwards and forwards. And you know, stuff can slip and slide. Always double check that you've sewn through on that other side there. Let's do these sides here, forwards and back. Now, the reason that I've pulled my channels out is to make sure that when I'm sewing these in place, I don't sew those in. I need those channels free, okay? Now I know that one side I did have a bit of, I'm just checking that everything has sewn in place. Yeah, it has. Okay, so to box the bottoms exactly as I did before, meeting those middle seams, you can clip these, that's all good. To hold those straight. So I've got that straight edge there where it was a square with the centre seams aligned, the edge and the centre seam aligned down the bottom, so I can then if you want to use a walking foot on these, then do. So from there you pull apart, realign those seams. It's as simple as that. Have I sounded like I've run out of bobbin fill? Yes, I have. So we'll just top that up. I can go a whole show with a full bobbin, could I now? Be very unlike me. Feel free with these bags, by the way, to use a polyester thread if you want. I've used a cotton, but you've got polyester in that velvet. So if you want to use a polyester thread, then do. And also it will give it that strength as well. I just happened to like this colour with the previous bag, so I stuck with that. Right, so that's Phil. We are nearly there. There's not a lot left to do. We're going to put the lining in, sew around, turn through, and we're done. Oh, and then put the frame in. That bit. That bit that makes all the difference. Yeah, forget about that bit, don't I? Actually, the other day, I did give my machine a little bit of a clean. Oh my gosh, I didn't realise quite how much fluff I had accumulated. I was a bit horrified, to be honest. Here we go. Working on a different machine at the weekend. It's amazing how you just become so used to one machine because this one, it does up all from one side. It's not straight on, so it throws me when I come to rethread another way. Right, so let's have a look where we're at. We're getting there. Do we want to change camera angle? There we go. So it's all looking good. We've got these free. We haven't sewn through those. Bonus. Excellent, because we're going to need those. You will have various threads to trim back. That's just part of it. Don't worry about that. I can't wait to see what this one looks like. I'm so excited. So turn your lining inside out, the right way around rather. And you're going to line up your seams. Now, I line them up seam to seam, and then I clip just either side, because I tend to start stitching on that bit, so that I know that where I'm headed to. But just pull there and make sure that, yeah. Now look, okay, case in point here, my lining is looking ever so slightly, and this is it, bear in mind that you haven't got the interfacing on this, it's looking ever so slightly larger than here. So here's what we're going to do, if that is the case for you. Normally when you put your lining in, you're going to go like that, pull it taut, and it's going to be absolutely correct. But there's no give in this because it's interfaced. So what I am just going to do, just to make sure, and this is just a little trick for you, I'm just going to increase my seam just at the top, ever so slightly, and then bring it down. I'm going to do that both sides. So if you do ever find that your lining isn't quite as taut as you want it to be, just take a few extra threads. So that it doesn't end up puckering and creasing when you do sew it in. So I'm still matching those seams. But it's just sometimes when we've worked with an interfacing, sometimes maybe we've taken a slightly larger seam allowance and not realised it, or whatever it is. But this is why I will always check my lining before I start to sew. And I do that. Fingers on those side seams, pull it, and what you should see is that along there, can you see that that is now sitting flush along there? And now we're going to sew it in place. You wouldn't, if I put you on the close-up camera, you'd just see this. So it's just easier to sew it from here for you to see. And around we go. Take time, there's no rush. Just realigning and straightening out the line that I'm sewing all the time to make sure that I'm happy with it. So I'm halfway around. And the other trick to linings, if you find that yours is a little baggy, is that I always start on the side seam. So that if there is ever any need for me to just tuck it under, because it's, you know, a little bit bigger or whatever, then I can do that at that seam and no one is going to notice. There we go, but as it is, there we go. It's the moment of truth. I'm so excited to see this. So turn through, ease out those corners, and again it doesn't hurt to have another check just to make sure you've caught all those stitches, caught everything where you want it to be. And then pulling that lining down into it. If you want to clip, pin, do whatever, then do that, because we are going to top stitch around underneath the handles. Okay, so we're going to be top stitching along here, so all of those will be top stitched in. Oh, it's looking a bit gorgeous, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to top stitch. Let me see if you can actually get a decent view from here. We shall see if I give it. And don't be afraid to you know, push your star out the way. I'm going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch around. That's my preference. And I'm stopping and I'm just pulling the bag so that, just gently making sure that my lining is in there, and I'm, with this hand, I'm just pushing everything under, making sure that everything is lined up underneath. I haven't caught my lining anywhere. And then pulling this so that I'm always sewing in a straight line and making it as easy as possible as I go round. The other reason that I sew from seam to seam and start from the seam is that I just know where I'm going to. And if for any reason I don't sew a consistent seam allowance, it's less noticeable on that side seam. So these, it's just, and then as you get your confidence, you tend not to do, you know, the mistakes that you don't make as much, but you've just got into a habit of keeping everything on those side seams. And for me, it just gives a neater, tidier finish. But oh my goodness, they are very beautiful. So, like I say, we've done this with denim. It's a very versatile make. This is a bit wit-woo, I am not going to lie. But if you want these velvets today, they're the Chatham Glyn Crafty Polyester Velvets. If yours is 100% cotton that you've put in, then they are our other velvets that we have there, not the new ones. So just double check that. Okay. So, obviously I'm going to have threads to trim. That's all good. We happy with all our stitching all the way around? If you are, then you can close your turning through gap. And again, I will just top stitch that down. So that it's done. And there it is. That's your lining done. Right, let's insert this frame. Okay, so you're going to want a pair of pliers or something just to help you with these, unless you've got incredibly strong nails. If Gemma were here, she would be telling me off for going anywhere near it with my nails, telling me that they're jewels, not tools. And what you want to do is use the end of your pliers just to knock it out a little bit. I've got jewellery pliers, and then pull those out. So just knock out and pull out. Okay, and then this is my top tip. Open it out and leave it like that, because you're now going to, as it sits, thread it through. And that's one. And then insert the other side, making sure that when it comes round, firstly you've got it the right way up so that it will actually close up like that. I've done that before now, put it in the wrong way. That's why I say leave it flat, open it out and leave it flat on your desk and then insert it. And the other thing is to make sure that you've got the opposite fixings on both. Now, as we start to insert these, what I would say to you is insert through the first bit. Sometimes they just slide in, sometimes they don't. If they don't, then with your round nose pliers, just go in from the other end to make sure that everything is aligned. And then it should just push in. And what you'll often find is that one side goes in super easy and the other's a bit more like, argh. But yeah, that would be my top tip for you. There we go. So if you need to, just move this fabric around. Do you see what I mean? One side goes in really easy and then you end up fighting the other end a little bit. There we go. But then when it does, it just needs to click into place. So first little bit, and then just make sure that everything is aligned with the other end of your pliers, and it can often just help. There we go, and that's it. So in terms of fighting it, I didn't really have to. And then having the tabs is great because you've got that center point to just position everything, and then everything will fall into line, hopefully nice and easily, and you can align everything then from there so that your channel sits nicely round like that, so that when it opens you've got everything in place there. Isn't that beautiful? And then there you go. And how gorgeous is that? I mean, really, how beautiful is that bag? I just love it. I just love it. So that's today's make. Oh, it's a bit gorgeous, isn't it? I'm so glad I made this one. I just think it's beautiful. It's in Natasha Makes colours as well, isn't it? If you want to applique anything onto the front, of course you can, as I did with that one up there. But just enjoy, stroke them and enjoy. Tomorrow, Jane is making her quilt. which is this one. Sometimes simple is so effective. Really, really, really beautiful. So do join me and Jane tomorrow for this quilt, and we will have that all hung up and ready to go. But thank you ever so much for your company today. Please do get those orders in for the velvet so that we can get those cut and out to you ASAP. Take care. Lots of love. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.